Hey, this is Scott JARVIE, Photographer's Life, and I've had a lot of requests for how to protect your camera at the Festival of Colors. I've done some other videos of the Festival of Colors. I've done like little music videos with pictures. You should check them out. They're going to show up for you guys to view, like links to them. They're pretty cool. I'm about to do another video with actual video and picture mix, a fusion type thing. You should check it out. That'll be coming out in just 3 or 4 days from now. Okay, so let's talk about the questions people have about protecting your gear at the Festival of Colors, because a lot of people are very paranoid about it. After like 4 or 5 years of doing this, it doesn't even bother me. I don't even think twice about the colors. And this right here is the colors that they throw around. So it is basically edible grade maize starch, color dyes, and flavoring agents. That's what it says there. And they go, woo, they throw it around, and you'll see that in all the videos of the Festival of Colors. Festival of Colors is a festival like Holi. That's an Indian festival. There's a Krishna temple in Utah, and they have one of the largest festivals in the world for Holi. I mean, there'll be more people at this festival than live in that whole entire town, or 2 or 3 towns nearby. There's tens of thousands of people that come, and there'll be hundreds of photographers, people that have been there every year like me, and people that come for one time, once in their life. They'll come, and there's people coming from Europe and just from all over to come take pictures because it's super colorful. There's a lot of fun. They're dancing. They are body surfing. You know, they're up there doing crowd surfing. They have a lot of fun. It's a good environment. It's clean. Well, it's not clean. That's why we're talking about keeping your camera safe. But it's clean in the other way, and it's safe, and it's fun, and people will bring their family, they'll bring their pets. It's only like a couple of dollars to get in, and they want you to, and this is how you support the Krishna temple there, is by buying the bags of color stuff, and you throw them around, and yeah, anyways, it's fun. All right, so you want to know how to keep your stuff safe. Now, how safe do you want to keep it? Like, do you not want any dust to ever hit the sensor? Or you just want to make sure your camera just works at the end? Like, or there's somewhere in between that you want your camera to be somewhat safe. I personally just want to make sure that it works at the end, and I'm willing to, you know, spend 20 bucks to have, or 30 bucks to have the local place clean the sensor at the end. I've gone to places like Death Valley or the beach, and you're going to have similar, that's a similar risk factor. I don't think that this is too much of a higher risk factor if you play it safe. So things that can be problematic, they're throwing around that dust, and some of the more problematic things are when you're changing lenses, when you're changing memory cards, and also what kind of lenses are you using. Because if you're using one like this, it has an outward like a zoom instead of an internal zoom. The lens goes back and forward, and there's plenty of space for that dust to suck in and out of the lens. Same thing with a lot of the 24 to 70s. But if you notice here, this particular lens goes from 70 to 200, but it doesn't have a external like zoom. Like here we are zooming it in and out, but it's safe. There's little tiny cracks in it, but they aren't going to allow dust inside the element. So when you are really in danger of dust is when you are opening it to change your lens. So don't be in the middle of the throw when you're changing your lens. Go away from the crowd. Now there are plenty of places that you just walk 5 minutes away and you're away from everyone else. Now they're really safe, so I'll do in areas like lenient, safe, and super safe. So super safe option would be don't change your lens. And if I had to choose just one lens to use and that's it, I may choose the 70 to 200. I love shooting wide angle, so I'm going to change my lens a lot. But to be safe, I'm going to go away from the crowd to change my lens. And I'm going to go in with a 70 to 200, go around the crowd, and I take a bunch of pictures and come back, switch lenses, go around the cloud and do that. I'm not going to take my lenses with me and you know, and switch while I'm around people that are throwing. Also memory card, because if you get, especially with CF cards, if you get dust inside of the little holes where the CF card is, or inside of there. It can short out stuff, I'm told, because that dust is somewhat conductive. So don't do that. So that's something even to be more safe about. So to be really safe, get a huge card and never change it the whole entire day. Get a 32 or 64 gigabyte card, and then you're really safe. You'll never have any problems. So don't change your lens if you want to be super safe. Don't change your card if you want to be super safe. And your battery, you can change that and without too many problems. So that should be all right. And then super duper safe is just use a prime lens. There's only one wheel here instead of a zoom and a focus. And to be even safer, you put on a like a UV filter or something like that. So even those that don't like using UV filters generally, it would probably use one in this case. And a lens hood could be good in case you get a side hit of dust. There are different levels to how to actually kind of externally protect your camera. Let's go down from super duper safe. That would be get an underwater housing for your DSLR at like $2,000 to $3,000, or get one of those little underwater bags that are a couple $100, but they're a pain to use. You're probably going to just take it off and just go, why was I so worried about this, and not use your underwater housing? Unless you're going to be in the middle of the fray. And then I would use an underwater housing, but I don't go into the middle of the fray during a throw. Every 2 hours, they do a big throw at this particular festival. And I usually am on the outskirts because that's safer. In the middle is not safe whatsoever. You need to have super protection. I think a lot of people see those pictures and think, I'm going to be in the middle of that? That's crazy. That's not true. We're not in the middle. We are on the outskirts. And so if you are in the middle, you want to be super duper safe. If you're on the outskirts, I could walk around like that, do nothing to my camera, and I feel all right. So let's talk about some things that I even do, and that is gaffer tape. Not duct tape, because duct tape leaves the sticky residue type stuff. I will use gaffer tape a little bit to plug the things that I'm not going to use the pop-up flash, so I'm going to put gaffer tape around it like so, and now those little holes for where dust could go in is not going to go in. At the end of the day, I'm going to take off the gaffer tape. It's going to look brand new, like where it was, and you're going to see wherever the gaffer tape wasn't, there's going to be a problem. So there's some other I guess cracks and holes that I would also cover up, and that is definitely the memory card area here. So put that, and obviously I'll put a little bit more, and I'll do it a little bit better at that point in time. Unless you're doing video and you're using an external mic, the only reason to use this side panel would probably be for external mic, so you can tape it up there. Also these areas right in here, I don't use as much, maybe let the lens release thing, so I'll tape that up there as well. If you're not using a flash, and there's very little reason to use a flash, tape that up as well. Even the grips I'll tape, because this kind of rubberish panel here will get a lot of, it'll get discolored. So if you just want to, it's not a safety thing, it's a, I want to keep it looking nice type thing. So cover up some of that stuff. It's grippy, it's not too bad to hold. Bring some extra with you, and then just go off to the side and maybe re-tape it. Any other buttons, I'm not going to use these side buttons, maybe go with a few less buttons. I'll just kind of wrap it up, and because it gives me the best feel. Also, you can use the gaffer tape on the lens itself, wrap it around. You want to make sure that you have the ability to focus if you externally focus. If you don't externally focus, why not just put it around the ring? And that's the way to be super safe, is to wrap it around the focusing ring, because it will internally focus. And so you don't need that external ring if you are going to automatic focus. If you manually focus, then it's going to be a little less safe. But you could wrap this whole entire lens and never have dust hit the lens directly because you have it wrapped in gaffer tape. But if you need to use this, then there is an option for you. So one of the options that people will use is kind of just use this cling wrap, cut off a piece of it here, like that, and then wrap it around like this, and then tape the ending. So you will still have some give and take to be able to operate the zoom and the focus. You'll still have a little bit of give for that, okay? And you'll still have the lens protected. Some people will wrap their whole entire camera and you still have it see-through, so you can still hit the buttons. And then if you want to and you're just frustrated with it, rip it off. It was free basically, you know. Wrap, the clear wrap is, you know, $1 or something, so it's not a big deal. Rain covers are great, but they have holes, so a lot of people, they get into trouble because they trust their rain cover too much, and then they'll get a hit maybe through the eyepiece or something like that. Now if you get a rain cover, you do need to make sure that the openings for where you put your hand or where the little eyepiece portion is, that you're mindful of it or you cover it, you know, and there's different levels of being safe with that. Personally, what I would do, because I'm a little more hardcore about it, is I will always use this wrap, but I use it like this because I don't want any dust to be hanging out around where the lens is. So I will wrap it around like this, and then each time, so I'll make a few of these little wraps and I'll just have them laying around, and each time I change my lens, I'll put a new one on. I'll just throw the other one away, just you know, whatever, stuff it in my pocket. So these little wraps to protect where the lens and the camera connect, because I've got all the rest of the little holes all covered up with gaffer tape, and then this right here, and I'll be using primes a lot, and I'll even use some of the zooms, and that gets me to the next point. Okay, so one of my most important things that I use is actually just like a sweater or a sweatshirt or a hoodie, and I'll just wear or a jacket, and this is one of the most important things, so hopefully I enjoy when it's not too hot. I'll use this. Why? Because I'll walk around with my camera like this. So if someone throws dust at me when I'm not taking a picture, the camera's definitely not affected, okay? And then my clothes also stay pretty clean, so I maybe even take 2 of these, and when it gets really colored, then I'll just change it. But when I need to take a picture, boom, boom. So, brings me to the most important point, that's why you stayed watching this the whole time, is that it's not so much how you protect your camera, it's being smart about it, okay? We talked about don't go into the middle unless you want to get colors all over you, okay? And the crowd of 20,000 people aren't there to just pleasure you. They're there to throw colors. So don't get mad at them when they throw colors, but be smart about it. You probably will get hit, but if you're walking around like this, or when you're taking pictures, how about don't be taking pictures next to a group of rambunctious kids that are throwing colors and are looking for targets. You can kind of look around and like, are they looking for a target? If they're looking for a target, maybe I shouldn't be right next to them, okay? Unless you're super safe protected here and you're like, yeah, fine, throw at me, okay? Maybe ease into it during that day. Maybe just start off and take a few pictures from far away, and as you get to understand the crowd mentality, you can get a little closer. You can get a little more risky, I guess, per se. You can get in there with your camera. Maybe start off with the lenses that you know are super safe and the protection, it's all covered up and everything, and you're not changing lenses and stuff like that. So start off safer, and then you'll get in there and you'll get to know, like, those people are throwing, they have color in their hand. They're more likely to throw if they're walking around with their hands in their pockets, or holding hands with someone, or carrying a baby, you know, or walking their dog. Those types of people are more safe to be around. And watch your back. There are people behind you, and it definitely throwing at your back is big. Like, there's a lot of people, as you walk past, a photographer walks past, they'll throw at the back because they're like, hey, we're not throwing at his camera. But there are people that will, like, you came to this festival, 20,000 people with a camera, you chose your destiny, we don't feel bad for you, okay? So don't blame them, that's just their mentality, they feel like you made that choice when you came here, so why are you complaining now? So I'm kind of adamant about this, right? Like, you're gonna go, you need to accept some responsibility for while you're there. And just watch out, don't be around jerks if you don't want to have problems with the jerks. Okay, so this leads us to where to be. Maybe on the outskirts is safer than the inside of it. And up on the temple steps, they have signs that say no dust throwing there, but it's not a guarantee, no color throwing up near the temple. They just don't want too much colors to go inside the temple. Another little tip is that they do have air compressors for when you go inside the temple, so you can ask them to blow off your camera. But the line is super long up until when it's over, then like you can go and use it easy. So let me discuss a couple other things about the mentality. Is they're going to throw at you, and there's just kind of like play between, if you're super clean, you're a fresh target. But if you are totally covered, oh, you are a perfectly acceptable target. Like it doesn't, like if you're super clean, that's someone to throw at. But if you are just covered in everything, that's really someone to throw at, because he doesn't mind at all. So if you've got a lot of colors on you, and I'm a little bit more in this direction, that if you've got a lot of colors on you, people will have no hesitation to throw more on you. So I basically have a little bit, so it doesn't look like I'm, you know, virgin, clean, like, oh, let's get him, let's induce him to the club. I have a little bit, but I'm not covered. If I get too covered, I go and maybe get another jacket or shake everything off. So it's kind of got this like old dusty feel instead of, you know, covered in colors, you know, like. And what I do is I start off by not getting any colors on me. Some photographers will just like, forget taking pictures for now, let's just go into the fray and like do all this stuff, right? And then they go start taking pictures. Well, you got a lot of colors on you that get all over the place. And then they see you as a perfectly acceptable target. So I start off not getting much on me, and by the end of the day I'm like, okay, now I'll go get riskier, get in the middle, get more on me. There's maybe less people here now, it's not as big of a deal and stuff like that. So be smart about it, know your surroundings. When you're walking around a ton of people going through the crowd from one place to the other, here's the hoodie, you know. I also walk like this a lot, so it's like, hey, photographer coming through, because it's not perfect, but like 80–90% of the people will recognize that and know you're not a target. I still watch out for the other 10%. Yeah, especially behind. And I'll walk kind of quickly through certain areas and slow down in other areas and wait for other people to pass by. It's kind of like a little game for me, and I barely get anything on me. I can go 4 or 5 hours without getting barely anything on me, and I am still very close to stuff. But I walk around with this so that I can always kind of keep the camera clean near where this opening is, near the eye location, and right in here. So I get most of it off that way, and then I also have a bring a couple of lens cleaning type things. You want to be careful, not just rub it around and scratch things up, but it's not that big of a concern, especially here, and just kind of keep your camera consistently a little bit clean. And you're going to bring a couple because it's going to make those dirty pretty quickly. So bring a few, clean it off, and you're just get a cheap UV filter if you're worried about scratching things up, just do it anyways. Or find the air compressor, and so I just do that. I maybe get a hit and just go. Also, this is also the person, like being this smart about it, is I'll give people kind of a stare down, like with the looks like, no, I'm not interested in getting thrown at. Not like, I hate you, go away, I'm gonna kill you. Or not like, hey, like you smile. Like, I'm very straight-faced. I'm a very smiley person in general. I'm a very straight-faced when I'm walking through. I make it look like, hey, he's here for business, he's not here for fun. Then put your camera down and have fun. There's a lot of opportunities for portraits. So you bring in like an 85mm prime or a 70-200, and those are also really great. You maybe can be a little more adventurous, okay? Walk around with this, have the gaffer tape covering all your holes that you're going to be using, you know? and you should be pretty dang safe. But still, I reiterate with this little thing right here, that you should, it's a lot about thinking through things. Don't be around the people that are super rambunctious unless you're willing to accept the possibilities. And don't go into the middle of the crowd unless you're willing to accept the possibilities. You can stay on the outskirts, you can use zoom lenses. I mean, I feel like I'm repeating myself. It's not that scary. There's a few things you can do, and then most people just like, meh. They protect their stuff at the beginning, and then meh, I don't care. And they take it all off. It's like, I'm not getting hit that much. I've got the main little holes, the microphone hole, the external cord holes, the USB holes, where the pop-up flash comes, and the battery area, and the memory card area. They got that covered. Maybe they even put saran wrap kind of around the thing, and then they gaffer taped it again. And I mean, they'll probably go right into the middle sometimes and then come back and wipe off their lens quite a bit. So this brings us to the part where you put in your tips in the comments below, what you've done to protect your stuff. I know I rattled off about a bunch of different things, and it's kind of, some may go, that's way overkill, and some like, oh, I don't want a speck of color on the whole entire thing, you know, so I want more tips. So definitely leave some tips. Have you gone before? Have you done ones in your own state, in your own town? Have you gone to India? Because there they will throw colored paint, colored, you know, like it's liquid, and that's even scarier. That would be even scarier to me. The dust thing is not a big deal, because if at the very end you do happen to get dust in there on the sensor, go to your local camera place or do it yourself if you're knowledgeable. But camera places, $30, $40, $50 at most, they'll clean your sensor. And I have a local place that will clean, because you don't just want just the sensor, but all the places kind of in and around it, because then dust will just go back into it. And at the worst case scenario, Canon or Nikon or a local repair place will open up the camera a lot more and clean the outside, the inside, and everything. And, you know, for like $100 or $150. If you're a member of Canon's, in Canon Professional Services, they'll clean it for you like once a year, twice a year, something like that. I'm not Canon, so I don't know. And they do the same thing with lenses. Those are a little more tricky, but it can be done. They can be cleaned out. So that's like worst case scenario. That's like you were walking around right in the middle of opening your lens around people. It was your own fault. And you were just like, I'm gonna change lenses, and someone walked up and like threw it right into there. You know, then you're gonna have to put down your camera, enjoy this festival, and the next day go to the camera place. But I mean, that's just because you were retarded. I mean, it was your fault. So.